everyone. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. So I want to check in and see whether or not Clarence Thomas will be impeached or not. Yes, apparently AOC has introduced the text to get that going. So anyway, let's just, it'll be way out in the future, of course, but I'm curious, as you probably are too. So let me just bring you over my table as usual. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I decided to use Cero Marchetti's Kipper on this cloth that is the 22 major arcanas. The zero, the Fool card, is our humanity that goes through each one of the evolutionary gateways of the majors. So I think this is good for looking into these people who don't tend to look within and look for the causality in their lives and as to what they might do or how they should behave in life. So anyway, Clarence Thomas. How's it going to go for you in the future? I have learned, actually, I listened to, it was on Ali Velshi, and I can't remember the gal's name. She's younger, wears really big glasses. She's adorable, and she's smart as a whip. I'm so sorry I don't remember her name, but anyway, I learned that Congress does have some recourse over SCOTUS, of course, because it's Congress that funds them, and Congress can also defund the, I guess, like the past allegations to SCOTUS's budget. And it turns out that they can also enforce a congressional statute. Now, this would all depend on the House and the Senate getting together, because that's the entire Congress, but which is probably unlikely until after the election, right, when we take the House back, if we can get the House back. I mean, if everybody votes. But then again, we have these racially gerrymandered states that can be such a challenge. That's why we need to get rid of the Electoral College. But anyway, back to SCOTUS. If they can, they can enforce a congressional statute if it looks like there's direct impartiality. You know, they can make a judge recuse themselves when there's a direct conflict of interest. And there are, it looks like that's been proven with all those upside down flags with Alito, and then with Clarence. We have the improprieties with all the gifts, but we also have, and that might be just like in the ethics type of transparency bill that's about to come, that I think they're trying to push through, or at least get it in through the Senate. But anyway, with Jenny Thomas, I remember doing so many readings on her that with live streams with Lisa and then over my table. I think she might even have her own playlist. Clarence has his playlist, but I might have combined Clarence and Jenny together, so you would look there. But anyway, the cards kept coming through in her readings telling me that, or in his readings too, that it looked like she had actually funded some of the people getting into the Capitol with the insurrection. And she was directly involved by constantly texting Mark Meadows about plans to overturn the election way before. Remember, because this was all put into place. Trump had put this plan into place, I think, about 9 months before. Before January 6th, they were just going to, or actually even before the election, they were going to pretend, whether he won or not, they were going to pretend that he did and that the election was rigged against him and, put all this garbage out there that our elections aren't safe and, The underlying message under that is like, why bother voting, which is really dark. That's coming straight out of Putin's playbook. So, Clarence, let's look at your future. And I'm going to start up here and go all the way around. Clarence Thomas, right there. Okay. Documentation. Whoa. Let me just get these laid out quickly and then we'll dive into it. Right there. His wife working to get people into the Capitol. And the money. Justice. A justice on the bench in the take. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Whoa. That's interesting. Change in the house of big change. Whew. Okay. Here's Jenny. Whoa, look at that. Judgment. Okay. So it's going to take some time for sure. But what I can see here with, okay, the documentary message, this would be video, this would be documents, this would be phone calls, texts, this would be anything that proves that he has acted very foolishly, he's taken great risk. There's some new of the Fool, the House of Fool, or the Fool card is all about a new beginning, or somebody making a very foolish mistake and taking too many risks, being outright reckless. He has, on one level, we could read this as him being very reckless with his written, with his dissertations, or what do you call those things when they, I know they can dissent and whatever, but they write up a lot of things. And then that's pretty much all he does. He doesn't say a lot. Alito writes even more. But yeah, so that's interesting. I would say there's maybe really the message is that he's a foolish, naive, reckless, not naive, he's reckless. He's reckless with the things he's done in the past. And yes, we do have the congressional statutes written up that will, can go through. That's the new adventure that he's on, is that something will probably come through with that congressional statute in the future. But it looks to me right here that it looks like it could take quite some time. So because his card didn't come through, I'm not going to start there. I'll do the normal. You open up with the first few cards. He has definitely had his fingers in the wheels that make things move. He doesn't care about anyone else and how much work they have to do. He thinks he's, the magician card, it's ruled by Mercury, right? So he thinks that he's above it all. He's above it all, and the rest of, us little wee people should, just be working our fingers to the bone. And not have any rights, and not, this kind of stuff is like back in the day when the lighting was poor, fingers got lost, people would go, could even go blind from working these. There was no, 40-hour work week. It was literal slavery, paid so poorly that they had to work long, long hours, and lose fingers in these big. Weaving, what do they call these things? I forget, but my brain's gone with that. These big looms, the big weaving looms, and then the poor lighting, right? Working your fingers to the bone with the poor lighting. And this is also a karmic card, the Wheels of Karma. That's what Jeffrey Thompson named it as for me, and I have stuck on. That is burnt into my brain. But yeah, so with the toil and labor, it's just awful. It's an awful situation, and he doesn't care about that. He thinks that people are to give to him, and he's the one, because it's in the house of the magician, he's the one to like dole out. This is his mindset, just to dole out whatever as to what he thinks they deserve. But now it's also very possible someone, because this is the house of the high priestess, someone who has been quiet before is now coming forward. This could be some type of, this isn't my whistleblower card. I don't have the whistleblower card coming through. That's the expectation card. But this is the, with the gift card, that, well, there's a few meanings with this card. It can be somebody who's supportive, somebody who offers help. It can be someone who recognizes, a person and flatters them. And I mean, it can be, if it's next to the child card, it can be visitors too, but when it's next to the child card and the child is in the house of the Empress, this can be pregnancy. So I'm wondering if there's documentary evidence. I'm just going to put it out there because it's possible with these cards. Could there be something that comes out about a pregnancy to a younger woman in the past that he has, covered up and kept secret? Because when you get these two cards together, and if you're looking for whether or not you can have a child, this is major yes here. And especially to have the child card come into the Empress, that's the mom card. And of course, as you can see, ruled by Venus. So that's a wondering. On another level, this could have the implications of, like I was saying before, documentation, texts, emails, video, whatever, that have to do with his wife and her brain that is just not fully developed. There's something weird with her, really weird. She's off in the brain. But I've always gotten, it's just a side note here, I've always gotten that they are pretty much joined at the hip, that he's emotionally dependent on her, and even though she has had the opportunity to make lots of money, she's financially and emotionally dependent on him. Like they're not a whole person alone. They're just crippled. So, but there's this karma around gifts being given to him, and then there's something about a child. So maybe it's that didn't they have like an adopted kid or something from the past? I don't know. I'll just let that go. But I can't really see anything else there. The four corners, which, frame in the situation for him. We have the courtship card in the house of the devil. So the devil has to do with our person having, being like bound to someone. It's a pretty bad card. It has to do with bondage and addiction and apathy, Capricorn, apathy and cruelty, in the dark side. Materialistic ways, just materialism. It's all about the money and what you can get from people. And to have the courtship card in there, I mean, my goodness, this card has to do with his social life and his network of friends, the people that he even, the clubs that he belongs to, but it also can have something to do with negotiations, some kind of negotiating. And with the toil and labor card up here, again, it's like this is his connection with the Heritage Foundation and the whole creation of Citizens United. And this is his connection with what's that guy Harlan Crow of like Trammell Crow Development, and that whole Bohemian Society, and this is his karma to be connected with those types of people who are just very materialistic, and they think they're better than everyone else, and they know how to organize reality, but it's all organized just for them. So, yeah. And also with the devil being connected to old age and bones and people who numb out, people who have a lot of arthritis problems, and they're just really unhappy, just chronic rigidity in the body, and then to have that connected to his social network, the people that he meets with, and they have their teamwork and in their club, just think of the big hoity-toity, just that bullshit. So this is like this guy's reality. And then moving forward, to have the occupation card, so this is somebody working for success and movement. And I should look at, I don't have his chart close by, but I don't know if he is a Cancer or if, I can't remember, I shouldn't even say. But anyway, this to me feels like, because the Chariot card has to do with not only success and moving forward, pushing through, with the Chariot card, you're needing to keep the keep the reins, keep the horses moving forward. The meaning of the Chariot card has to do with going the middle way, the balanced way, and you have to keep your passions in line. You have to steer the course forward, and it can definitely relate to health issues too with the Cancer or the Chariot card, but to have the work card come through, this tells me that he is directed, and this would include, like, he knows everything that's going on with Jenny, but that he has put his will, because the Chariot card is all about will, into his willpower, into asserting something out there, just to he's so determined to make things the way that he wants them to be, and doesn't care about anyone else, of course. It can have to do with greed sometimes. It definitely, this house would rule his stomach. So maybe that's kind of something he's always having to work on, maybe stomach issues. But because it comes down into, you can see the angle, the card's here coming down to Jenny. And notice how Jenny is in the sun house, so that she's like his life. This is another indication, it's coming through again, that they're joined at the hip, like his vitality is dependent on her. Like she's the sunshine of his life. And she is delusional, and she is connected to foreign relations. This is in the lover's house. So this is her bonds, her agreements, her value system. Has to do with maybe traveling a lot. There's that possibility. But it does indicate here, again, because this would be our, the courthouse would be our capital, and she helped people get into the capital. So now to continue on with the four corners, to have the pathway card in the house of the world. So the world card is completion and something coming full circle. It has to do with integrating, your past, and either there's accomplishment or not, right? But to have the pathway card, and if I were to read the world card in the reverse, I really do think it does involve for them. It does have to do with, it does, upright or reverse has to do with travel, okay? So, yeah, I think there's going to be there could be some repercussions for the, and recompense that maybe he has to make for all that money that he's taken from these, there might be some of the dark money super PACs that he's aligned with, right? Yeah. And of course, with his connection to Harlan Crow and all those, they bought a house for him, I guess I can't remember who it was in his family. I think it was his mother. Harlan Crow gave him the money or gave him a house for his mother to live in, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys. Anyway, and anything else you can remember that I'm forgetting about them. But yeah, so the pathway card, if I were to read the world card reverse, there's a lack of completion and a lack of closure and taking no self-responsibility. And so there's this back and forth, this developing that keeps happening. And for timing, if you're using this card for timing, usually you look at the card next to it, but it landed last. And this could be work ethics, if I'm tying these two cards together. And this is his teamwork, tying these two corners together. All of his, like I said, his social network of the money. And so things will be coming out over time about that. More and more. Especially to have Jenny headed towards despair and having to go back into the past and look at what she did, and then it determines her future. Because this is a card of developing something, right? This is a card of patience and persistence. And also, it could prove her long-term plans. So there you go. But to have the despair card, so this is kind of like the Nine of Swords, but worse, because it doesn't go away. My keywords for this card are being tortured with worry and stress, and that's what she's stepping into. And it's in the house of judgment, ruled by Pluto, no less. So I think I think we can just use the judgment house simply as being that there will eventually at some point be some judgment coming down against her. And then again, if I were to read the judgment card reversed, I would say, because that's what this whole spread's about, is like putting the tarot majors. If you didn't have a spread, you guys want to do this kind of a reading yourself, just put it all out on a big piece of paper or draw it, and then and put the major arcanas underneath. Like I could do that too, is have the card there, and then you always remember what house it is. You just sort out all your majors and then lay them out like this. So anyway, yeah, it's a down time, a really terrible down time when you get this card. There are demands made upon her, and she's not sleeping well. She's maybe even having nightmares. She might be a heavy drinker that has, some serious problems with self-destruction going on. And that will continue on over time as well. I really do feel like the judgment and the world would be, red in the reversal. Maybe I'll do that next time, is put the cards underneath, but allow for reversals and then just lay them out. I think I should do that next time. But anyway, so what's sneaking up behind her are all of these cards. This is catching up to her, okay? So again, her contacts based on materialism and control and, house of the devil. And then her distractions and her grifting, her thievery in the house at Tower. Mars and Uranus rule the Tower, but this is traditional. So anyway, the Tower is about her own self-destruction, and it's her self-destruction because of the fact that, and I wouldn't focus on her so much if she hadn't shown up, but she did, and this is a big picture as to what brings him down. It is her and her grifting, her distracting from, who really won the election, and her connection with Trump, because she thinks he's the star, and she hitched her wagon of hope onto him that really puts her in this poverty consciousness, because she thinks that unless he won, that we're just the country will fall apart. Oh, but I think she's going to lose money, and it's because she is this lunatic who's been gullible and caught up in the the whole Kool-Aid of Trump, and then really worked for him to bring change into the Capitol, to bring people traveling, worked to help people travel. She paid, look how these cards knight together, 2 over and 1 up. These cards knight together. She paid and she gave valuable time and money to get people to the Capitol, and people did die. Anybody involved in that has that on their soul. Died and hurt terribly. That's on her soul. That's on his soul. That's on Trump's soul. That's on all of these people that got involved in that violence. And that definitely is tied up in this card too. This is a card of violence. Violence and self-destruction are in the despair card. So, and in other decks, the despair card can be just called stress and adversity. But they changed the names in this one. So the cards at night to her have to do with her health and being the Wheel of Fortune. Her excesses, ruled by Jupiter, her excesses will create bad health. And then this other card, the Lover's card, knights to her as well. So this is her loyalty to him, and she ties her reality onto, Temperance could be looked at as a political card because Jupiter and Sag rule politics. So there's that. But anyway, the short, simple answer is she's loyal to him, and they'll go down together. And she probably drinks and uses drugs. This card is knighting as well to her, as well as the sudden wealth card in the house of Emperor, right? So it's like she's probably got these daddy issues, I'm guessing. This could also be Trump to her. Trump is her daddy. Yuck. But anyway, she didn't mind risking to get money for him, grift for him. And there's only 4 money cards in the deck, and they're all here. Okay, the gift, sudden wealth, great fortune, and unexpected income. There's 44 or 40 cards in this deck. 39. There's 39 cards. And I'm 39 or 40, I forget. But there's 21 laid out here, as you can see, or actually 22. And so with only about half of the cards, a little more than half of the cards, we have all of the money cards that came through. Now, what's hanging over her, because coming through in the house of the Hierophant, this is someone in the government. Now, I believe AOC, yeah, that's right, AOC had started writing up the paperwork to impeach Clarence, but AOC is much younger than this woman. So this is another woman besides AOC, I think, in the government, okay, in the government, in the structure, in Congress, helping AOC. And I don't know who that is. Maybe you guys can help me out with that one. So these cards all of these cards are weighing down on Ginny. And remember, because Clarence is so, dependent on her, that, she's his sunlight, remember? She is his sunshine. That, and this is her vitality that is lessened as well. She's having health issues. And she's taking drugs and drinking or something there, right? And that's her true relationship is the fact that she's an addict. And then, I mean, the hanged man even above her, with Neptune hanging over her. So besides what happened at the Capitol on January 6th, that she was highly involved in, we have now the government at some point will come down on her. This is her, her future. And that she can't get out from under. And there will be documentation. This would be impeachment, the articles of impeachment that would come down on Clarence, and that where she would be implicated, where she brings him down. Isn't that ironic? They're joined at the hip, and she brings him down. Makes sense to me. So anyway, the income and the help and support that she gave to Trump caused death, right? And someday, because the coffin card coming in the house of the hermit, she will have to self-reflect and see that. But who knows if she will? Some lifetime, right? And that all that again, travel plans to get people in. She had a very strong part, this being in the house of strength. She had a strong part in doing that. And so basically, this looks to be like a reiteration of a reading I've done in the past where it came through clearly that it was going to be Ginny that brings down Clarence, and health issues. It looks, the only thing that's different with this reading, I can't remember the other ones, but I thought he had health issues. This reading is on him, so this could be his health issues that are hanging over her, but hers too. Like, if he goes, she'll go, because they're just so dependent on each other. It's like this soul contract to work something out. Grifting, racism, and I guess with him we would call it reverse racism, but he doesn't, he's got a really twisted view of reality. And I still am curious about a child, maybe in the past. Yeah, maybe that is that one that they adopted. So, if that even really happened, I don't for sure know. So I think I'm done. I can't really think of anything else. I mean, we could do knighting. Maybe I'll leave that to you guys because I am on a tight schedule today. So tonight you go 1 over and 2 up, like this. So for her, I did cover these. or you also go 2 over and 1 up, or 1 up and 2 over, right? And you can also mirror the cards together, like read these 2 cards together, and then these 2, and then these 2. But I think I really do, just glancing at all these cards tied together, it does look to me like it's all about her getting people to the Capitol and her paying money and spending a lot of time and all that connection to Mark Meadows, even though he didn't come through here. And remember, all of these cards weighing down on her, the death of those people that day, and the death and destruction, judgment coming through about that. Man. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm done. I hope you guys having a wonderful weekend. Bye.